All right, we are live. Good morning, everybody. My name is Zach Muir. We're here back with another great webinar. Spring Benson is joining us. Spring, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hey everyone, how are you?
Funny, Spring and I actually we did a webinar a few months ago, I think, when you did a huge listing contest. I think it was in August, right? With your brokerage and a bunch of agents here in Utah. So it's good to have you back, Spring.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, cool. Just a couple webinar etiquette stuff. We got some of the Sisu team behind the scenes answering chat. So feel free to hop in there if you have any questions. They'll be linking things as we refer to them. So you be very active in the chat box. There's also a Q&A function. So if you want to go in and pop in a question, they'll be able to get around to that and answer that. So cool. All right, so Spring, one of the things that inspired this webinar, you have one of the coolest teams we've ever seen, one of the coolest cultures, and we want to take an inside look at that because you guys are kind of using Sisu to drive that and a lot of other things. And so lots of fun things to talk about today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your journey in real estate and how you got to where you are, and a little bit about how you've started to grow your team, all that stuff, your life story.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is I got into real estate originally in the resort real estate market. I sold second homes for a developer for about 8 years. And when the economy crashed, people stopped buying second homes and the developer stopped building. So we really had to shift our business into going into more of that resell, short sell residential market. And fortunately for me, the resort market that I was in was only 20 minutes away from a metropolitan market. So I just bounced down on the other side of the hill. And that's when I joined Keller Williams, and they talked about this team model and growing your business and all of that jazz. And so I got ingrained into the Keller Williams culture and started a team in probably about 2013. About 2013. And from there, it's just been a really fun adventure growing this team. It started out really small, and now we're up to about 14 agents. Our intention is to be about 20, maybe more, just depending upon it has to be the right fit by the end of this year. And we're just loving it. So
Love it. That's awesome. Let's just talk a little bit more on this team stuff. I know you guys were kind of one of the first groups using a proprietary Sisu system and really had a huge year. You exploded. I think it was back in 2016, at least that's what I have here. Tell us a little, about how that growth has been and what have some of the main focus points been?
Yeah, so part of the growth came from me getting very intentional about recruiting. So a lot of the business, when I moved on to the other side of, I call it the metro market, a lot of the production came from myself, and I ran a small team. And then I realized there's ultimately turnover in real estate, we know that. And so I kept on having to reinvent my team. And when somebody would leave, because I had this vision that I wanted a small team of just heavy hitters. So when somebody would leave, they would take 40 to 50 transactions a year with them, and it was just like, it just got to a point that I was like, okay, I really probably need to hire more people and go a little bit deeper. So part of this has been that we were one of the first people on Sisu, and it's really helped me be able to do that by holding people accountable to their numbers, and then also holding my numbers, like knowing what activities we're doing and some of our expenses, and we can kind of dive into that. But a lot of the growth has really come from me being very intentional of making sure that I'm bringing on agents and then holding them accountable to being in production.
Yeah, and I think when people talk accountability, they think it's from a top down. It's more of a a benefit for the admin, but the team, everyone on the team wants to make money. Everyone's here to make money. Everyone's here to kill it. So from what I've understood, it's the numbers, but it's also just making them happen. And everybody wants to make it happen. It's just the way you can inspire and motivate, right?
Yeah, and when I talk about accountability, I think people put a negative around accountability, and accountability is not negative. Like when we hire. And I think you have this partially built out, and part of our conversation we've talked about is when we hire, we bring people on and ask them what their goals are. Like we do have team standards of what we expect for them in order for us to spend our time getting them into production and our resources. But ultimately, we hold them accountable to what they said they wanted to achieve. Yeah. So as long as they're meeting within our standards, like if you're telling me that you intend to make $200,000, I'm going to sit down with you and figure out a plan to do that. But then I'm going to hold you accountable to what you said you wanted to do and why you said you wanted to do it.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I mean, people pay thousands of dollars a month just for a coach. And it's one of the main things that a coach will do is hold you accountable. So you can build that inside a team structure. That's a massive value right there. So I wanted to talk business plans. And this is something that, when I'm talking to people, I'm talking to people about real estate. A business plan is basically, we talked about this last week on a webinar with Jared Zimmer, taking your goals, reverse engineering them down to the core metrics that you need to hit, right? And I actually wanted to show, if I flip over here, let's see, I'm going to share this again. If I hop into Sisu, so people build business plans, right? And I mean, I guess first thing, Spring, tell us a little bit, like, how do you guys build these business plans with your agents?
So a couple of things. So we do an end of the year retreat. We end our year in October every year. So our sales number, we do them from October to October. Mm-hmm. We do an end of the year retreat every October. And at that time, it's usually 2 days that we get deep diving on some personal, because I'm a massive believer that if their personal life and their mindset is not correct or in a good space, then they can't accomplish their goals. So we spend a lot of time on mindset, creating a life vision for the year. And then we dive into what they want to create on their business side and then how they're going to get there. So they come up with a full business plan. We strategize of what lead sources they're wanting to do, where they really want to focus, but every one of them choose what's going to really help them propel their business. And then we hold them accountable to it. So what we do is we do a monthly mastermind. I'm sure with a lot of you guys that are on this webinar are part of mastermind groups. So we host it very similar to the mastermind groups that we pay to be part of.
It's a mastermind for your agents, right?
Yes. So to say, we do a monthly mastermind within our team. And in that mastermind, we do once a month, we do a different book. Last month we did Grant Cardone's Be Obsessed or Be Average. So,
I love that one. That's an awesome book.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. So at the mastermind, we kick it off with discussing the book, any takeaways. We tried to do it back in the day with MC meeting, and it just didn't turn out as well. So we do it in the mastermind, and then we go over what's really working well in the team and what's not working well. We have everybody kind of talk about that for a minute, and then each person stands up and goes over exactly their business plan, what they were going to execute on for the month, and what they accomplished. And we pull up their Sisu dashboards as well on the big screens, each individual ones, and we go over where they're tracking. And then we make any adjustments to get them back on track of what they need to do for this month to be able to hit their goals. So for example, you've got Jace pulled up. So we just had our mastermind last week. Jace has only been in the business for, I think he joined our team last fall as a brand new agent. So
that's awesome.
His intention was he wanted to make, I think it's 120 or 140 grand. I don't remember exactly which one, but if we look at his dashboard for the month, like his contacts, his intention was 600. He's at 532. So
he's going big. 600 conversations. I mean, just off of what I've seen, that's a lot of conversations. And I mean, 532, that's pretty dang good. So shout out Jace.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in the office all the time. Like he's that person. But my point of this is, if you look at it, I mean, these are his numbers for the month. So he's got his listings is where he's really struggling, but he's doing great on the buyer side. But if you scroll down, agent
too, I mean, getting into the listing side is, that's part of the challenge. And, just the fact that how many years, a year on the team or less?
JC's like less than 5 months.
Yeah. Wow. So and getting into the listing side, that's awesome.
Yeah. So if you scroll down though, like he's on pace to hit his income. Like he's made $22,000 so far this year. And this is agent paid. So meaning that's what he has taken home in his pocket after team splits.
Okay.
But this is really great for us to be able to say, okay, you've made $22,000. You're at February, mid-February. So you basically have paced. So you're pacing on track to hit your income goal for the year. So when we're going through these masterminds, we'll pull up and look at all this. We'll look at where their average GCI is, if that's an issue. Like his is great, but I've had some in the past that their GCIs were substantially lower, meaning they were reducing their commissions, which is a no-go. So how we can get that, how we can get those up, and then just really honing in on the numbers. I can't tell you like how impactful, because my office, we have TVs. We have 2 large TVs up with our numbers every day. I don't want to say that the teams don't care about those numbers, because they do, but they really care about their own numbers. So from this mastermind last week, they all set the intention that they will come in the morning on their morning huddles and pull up their individual dashboards, and go review them in the morning before they start making their calls, so they can see exactly where they're at as that visual. So anyway, I just think that as much that you can put around that and them actually seeing it is going to be hopefully really impactful for them to hit their goals. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, because look, so many people will take that time, or so many team leaders will take that time, go in and just drill in these awesome, business plans beginning of the year, and everyone gets all hyped up. But you got to see, that's got to be in your face as much as possible. And then it's motivating, because he's seeing right here, oh dang, I'm on pace to that. I'm actually making it happen. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't always done it this way, and it hasn't always been that great. This is really a massive intention with us right now with Sisu, because it is right there. Like if I'm in there every day analyzing our business, I get a little excessive about it. I'm sure a lot of you guys, if you're on Sisu, I'm like in the weekend, like what's going on? Where am I at?
Well, Spring, do you mind if I show them your snapshot page?
Yeah, it's great.
This is awesome. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is it's just so imperative to get them being accountable to their numbers. And we do set these business plans, and then we just let them go by the wayside. So being very intentional this year of like keeping track of our scores all the time, and then revisiting it on a daily basis, so that we can keep on pace to hit our goals.
Yeah,
so,
look at this this January versus last January. That's fun. I like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was fun to look at over the month.
Yeah, I'm feeling stoked. And we actually have a great February coming, and most of our closings are at the end of the month as well. So I'm really excited to be able to see it. So,
good for you guys. Cool.
Yeah.
One last thing that I thought was really cool here. You have some other metrics here, but I thought it was cool that they're tracking their exercise too. That's
okay. So I got to tell you guys this is something cool, is that we actually, in the mastermind last week, we are all going to do a fitness challenge together. Talk about accountability here, but there's on Instagram, there's this local person that she's an influencer.
Okay.
Anyway, we all went in and bought her program.
To
do a 30-day cut. It starts February 18th. So
you guys aren't messing around.
Yeah, but we're going to track it in Sisu. But we all paid the money for it, and you have to just take pictures of yourself. We're going to take a group picture of all of us in our swimming suits at the start of it and at the end. But these guys, this is what's cool about this, is the guys on the team are all went and bought a gym membership or added on to theirs at the gym by the office, and they're all going to work out together at 5:00 in the morning. And so I'm pretty pumped about it. But yes, we do track this, and there's just more to it than just real estate,
Yeah,
so,
that's freaking awesome. I think it was you. Was it you that I heard it from? That it's 80% your mindset and just where you're at, mentally. And another 20% is just going out and executing and hitting the numbers. So
yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, I thought that was fun, so I wanted to shout that out real quick. Okay, moving on a little more. So keeping score, I guess we kind of already hit on this. One thing I wanted to show was this is a little video tour of your office. So, and I understand they are ripping that thing apart right now. So,
hence I'm doing this from home. We actually just redid the whole thing, got new paint and everything. So, and it'll be exciting to have a new vibe in there. It's kind of
yeah,
yellow
let's
and
see if
that,
this
but
is gonna. Yeah, you're getting rid of those yellow walls, right?
yeah, they're gone.
Nice.
Great.
So yeah, I mean, you got your dashboard right there, and I like one thing I like is that you kind of have this central area where everyone prospects, right? That's intentional?
Yeah. So I actually just moved spaces, probably 3 months ago because of that. So originally we were in office spaces where we had small little offices that you'd shut the door and then people would just revert into doing their own thing. And it really, it changed my culture 1,000,000%. I would highly advise if anybody has the opportunity to just go into a open space. And I had my concerns about being loud or not being productive or whatnot. But these guys all, you can see we have the desks that they can stand up and or sit. But they're in there a lot. And I've got a culture right now that everybody really loves to be around each other, which can be good and bad. It's great, but they're chatty Cathy sometimes, you know. But you can see like they're in there doing their thing, and that's pretty much an all day experience until they're out showing houses. So it's really nice for that culture component of them just all having that synergy.
Yeah, I think that's part of why they're all coming together and saying, "Hey, we're gonna do this exercise challenge and send pictures of all of us in our swimsuits." That's funny. I love it.
Do it.
I love it. Yeah. Okay, so next thing, this is huge. This is actually one of the main things I wanted to touch on is just the celebration component. And so and I know you're huge on this, Spring, but we wrote a blog post a little while back that talks about, and I was talking to Frank on our team about this. We're all kind of, how do you say? He said we're all dogs because we're all kind of motivated psychologically the same way, right? And it's this framework of cues, routines, rewards, right? And a cue, a trigger is something that makes you want to do something. And then as you do that more and more, it turns into your routine. It turns into the actual action. And then the reward reinforces that trigger once again. So when it happens, you want to do it again. You want to do it again. And you can use this to create those strong habits and strong frameworks. And from what I've seen, the celebration part or that reward part, not just like, monetary rewards, but just the reward and the recognition and all that is huge in reinforcing the triggers and the kind of performance, the kind of actions you guys want on your team. So talk to us a little bit about that, Spring. I know you're huge on the celebration part.
Yeah, so actually, so obviously I'm sure we've all ran contests at some point in our businesses. And if you've been anything like me, we've come up with this contest and we've put it on the whiteboard, and then we maybe revisited it every week during sales meeting, right? And I just felt like I never really got momentum from it until recently with what you're talking about and Sisu. So a couple of things are, what we've done is what we've started to do. So in the month of November, well, it would have been December. In the month of December, what we did was a contest that we used the Sisu leaderboards for to keep track of. But we did a contest where we divided the team into 2 separate teams. We chose 2 people that we felt would be strong leaders within the organization. And then behind closed doors, we let them pick their own team. So it wasn't like he got picked or she got picked or whatever. Like it was, they got their own, they picked their teams. And then we did a contest based off of listings taken, under contracts, and agreements signed. And it was phenomenal for us in the sense of driving massive productivity because they competed within each other. So we set up a Slack channel. We have Slack, that's what we use for all of our communication, but we set up 2 separate, yeah, you can see that. What we did was we set up 2 separate threads, and so that each could like hold each other accountable. But the momentum that created, that my Slack channel was like blowing up all day, every day, with everybody like razzing each other and posting this. And so one of the things that Zach's showing on here right now is we did integration with Zapier, where we have it set up that when something is triggered in Sisu, it hits our Slack.
All automated.
Yeah, it's all automated. So before Sisu, before we had it automated, we would just have them Slacked out, like I put so-and-so under contract, which is great. But it's just nice that I noticed as a team leader that they'd put it in Slack, and then they wouldn't hit Sisu for 3 or 4 days, you know? Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh no, we got to figure out how this is, like, because they want that recognition, right?
Exactly.
They want that celebration. So we integrated it so it hits the Slack channel when they do something. But you can see, like, this was a screenshot of the other day, but there were 3 of them that hit like right in a row, like 10:54, 10:54, and then 11:52. And so you can see, and then you can see like the reply on that of keep it rolling or whatever. And you can see the little, the people giving claps or whatever. So anyway, that has been huge. The celebration and just the excitement and just the consistency, like the contest stays top of mind all the time because of the push notifications in Sisu and the Slack channel and the leaderboards that are up on our office. Like that last thing that you showed, what I have it set up is I have 2 TVs. I have one that's just on the dashboard that does that rotating through. And then I have the other one that's just on leaderboards with contests, so they can see where they're at all times in that contest. But it was great. Like for us, we had a phenomenal December, which obviously you saw that led into our January. And December like was hard in the sense that Christmas fell on Tuesday. So everybody took Monday off, and then Tuesday, and then Wednesday, and then New Year's was the same way, right? So we basically had I don't want to say 2 weeks off, but getting them back into massive production was hard for that. So I think we put like 20 something homes under contract in those first 2 weeks in December is really fantastic for us. And I 100% contributed to the contest and then the momentum that we kept through using the system.
Yeah, one of the things we talked like before when we were kind of planning this out, what we were going to say today is just, hey, how do you take one win, and when someone gets a win, when someone closes a deal, they put something under contract, they're all excited, and that energy, that's contagious. So how do you take it and spread it across the team, right? And so the notifications that are all automated, so that's just once again, it's an intrinsic reward, it's a trigger, it's a cue. So it's making those things happen more consistently, right? And in an automated way that's not a headache for anyone.
Well, and keeping it top of mind. The other thing that I did is I made them all buy in. So I've ran contests in the past, and it's like, hey, I'm paying for the whole thing, and so there's excitement, but not. It's like, cool, we're going to win this or not. But I made each one of them Venmo us $50.
Oh, wow.
And then the winning team got, and the team contributed money as well. So the winning team went out to, I think, Fleming's and then had money to spend or something, you know. But just that camaraderie and also the competition amongst them that from all of this was awesome, you know. Yeah. So the one win drives more productivity, because then the next person's like, I don't want to be that one person on the team, on the smaller teams, the micro teams that isn't contributing, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, for sure. I love it. Okay. I saw this. You got to tell me about the money gun. I saw this on social media. I got to hear about the money gun.
Okay, so this is my cute little assistant in this photo, but she, so I went to a mastermind not too long ago, and they were talking about the money gun, and we reward activities in our sales meetings, whether we do for listings taken or whatnot. We'll have them draw gift cards out of a hat, or we have tons of Utah Life swag, but I was like, man, these gift card drawings are boring. Like, we got to do something different. So we bought the money gun, and it loads like $500, which is not putting $500 in there unless it's like a massive win, but it will shoot out like, I can't remember what my assistant said, but it was like $100 in like 2 seconds in $1 bill. So instead of gift cards, they're going to be getting shot with money in sales meeting. It's just something fun for the culture.
Yeah, no, I thought I want one myself. It looks like
yeah.
a pretty beefy little gun right there.
Yeah, I just figured. I mean, I was actually telling my husband, I was like, I'm gonna go like start the week off with just showering them with money. In that the team calls it the Lion's Den. They call themselves Lions.
Oh yeah.
But I was like, I should just go shower them with money, and my little boy thinks it's so ridiculous.
Oh, it looks like you get some velocity coming out of that thing. There's some paper cuts all around the office.
Yeah, he's like, I don't understand why you would do that. I'm like, because it's fun. Why not? You know.
That's awesome. I love it. Hey, one more thing. I did want to pop in here, talking about notifications and making these wins just in an automated way, just spreading them across the team. These are looks like these are the notifications you guys have set up. And just for those of you who are using Sisu and haven't done this yet, you can hop in here and you can set these notifications. Just choose an event that you want happening. And if there's other events that you want, we can add them in here. But you got closed, you got signed, you got deadlines. So you can call it a name, give it a title, subject, say what the message is. And these messages are going to go, not only are they going to push to the phone, so that's a huge thing because it's sending a push notification right to their phone that brings them back into Sisu, back into their numbers, back into their business plan. So it's pulling everything back in. But it'll shoot an email as well. And so for like an event such as a due diligence deadline.
That's so nice. Yeah. So nice. Like, I love that you guys did that. Because I'm always like, hey, where's my due diligence? And I know it's coming up, you know, and I have it on my Google calendars. And I mean, we've got it all dialed. But to just get that push notification that just pops up and like, oh, great, I don't have to go searching for it, you know? So freaking love that.
Yeah, and it looks like you got, you know, all the major hit points, so signed and under contract, closings for both buyers and sellers. And you can kind of customize the time ranges that you want them in. You can make it so that it'll give you the notification a day before or 2 days before. Like you notice this one is 1 day before a due diligence deadline. So a lot of flexibility there that you can basically just create these notifications the way you need them, the way you want them, and they'll hit. And that's the momentum thing, right? If something good happens, take advantage of it, spread that momentum across the team, right?
For sure. The other thing, and I know this isn't on your topics, what we kind of discussed, but
we can talk about anything. Don't even worry.
Okay, you guys just added the ability to have forms, and that has been like so huge for my team because I'm assuming my team is like everybody else's where we used Google Forms before, and we had a lot of duplicate entry. And now just that one little shift has been like a massive game changer. I mean, even last night I had a deal go into contract on a Sunday night and I was like, oh, I don't want to go in and do this right now. But it literally just through the process you guys had set up, it took like 2 seconds and it was so nice. And my TC's already sent out all the emails this morning and it's super simple system. So props to you guys on that one.
I love it. Yeah, no, it's I mean, part of the sales performance and just managing the performance of your team is making an easy handoff between when a deal goes under contract and whoever's going to make sure that it actually goes through to closing correctly. So there's probably going to be some more to come on that as we continue to work on all these things. So I'm glad you like it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay. Last little thing here to close up. All of this that you've set up, it's a retention thing too, because the structure you've created, the coaching, and this could allow for coaching inside of the team so that as agents grow, and now they've been doing, 30, 40 deals for 5 years in a row. Well, they don't leave the team. They continue on the team because there's places inside the team to grow. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So our culture is 100% about growth. I think unlike with every other team leader that it's hard to retain talent unless you're giving those opportunities, right? So the way that we have our team structured is that we have certain benchmarks of what we require productivity-wise to happen. But once they hit that certain production level, so for ours is 36 homes in a year. Once they hit 36 homes, they have the opportunity to mentor a new agent underneath them. and take an override on that agent. So it gives them the opportunity to kind of build a mini team within the team per se, without having the overhead and the expenses and all of that jazz that we take on as team owners. The benefit for us is that we have a little bit more leverage. So there's only so many agents that my director of ops and I can connect with. And so having, and I'm sorry, not my director of ops, my director of sales. Mm-hmm. And so there's, so this gives the option for them to become leaders within our organization and to mentor those people and really hold those other agents accountable, right? So that's a big part of it. We also, not even on growth opportunities, but we do an end of the year team retreat, not retreat, but vacation. Yeah. So you'll notice in our Sisu dashboard, we have, we're tracking on a leaderboard. It says you're going on vacation. That has been massive. You go to leaderboards. It's been huge in the sense of,
that's super cool.
So, I love that. So everybody is all about it. So we've got until the end of October to hit the 36 units to go. Okay. And like Jace just is like the number one of like, guys, we can't be the ones on the beach drinking pina coladas without you, you know? And, but it is like, that's been a big component of it. And then we do a few different variables on commissions as they get higher and higher into production as well. My intention is to really grow leaders, and I'm hoping and intending to grow enough that they stay with me. But if they don't and they move on and do their own thing, then we've taught them how to run an awesome business and that they can go and succeed on their own. So I don't want to run a culture of, hey, we want to hold you captive and not really teach you how to do these things on your own. You know, I'd rather them get very highly productive while they're with us. And like I said, hopefully we're creating that environment that they want to stay. And if they aren't, then they can go out and kick ass on their own. So
yeah, it's just the reality of the business. You bring on superstars and eventually, you know, they move on sometimes, but you're maximizing your chances that they stay on and, you know, give them a lot of opportunity to grow inside and stay with the crew. So
yeah, a big part of that too, what we use on here to help them see is you guys have in that report section. Oh yeah. The income reporting and the lead sources and all of that. And so like, I'll show them if you can pull up an income report from like January. I mean, it shows the amount of money that's come in or lead sources or where they're at. So like, I mean, Brett right now, he's killing it. He's 29%, almost 30% of our team volume and his transaction count, right? But I'll show, Brett's actually my director of sales, but when he and I were talking about him becoming that director of sales and taking that opportunity, we just used the income agent income report or the team income report, and I showed him the numbers. It just makes everything so transparent, black and white of where business is at, where he could make an educated decision. He was like, oh, absolutely, I want this opportunity, right? Yeah. Where if you're showing them like reports that are like QuickBooks or financials or whatever, you know, it just isn't as easy as this just popping in. And this whole section right here, these reports have really, really taken probably 35% of my director of operations job off of her plate, because she's no longer going in and having to do all these spreadsheets or reporting or whatever. She can literally click in the button and just see, you know, and she can just generate it for us on a weekly basis of when we need to make some decisions or whatnot. So it's been pretty cool.
Cool. I love it. Well, Spring, I don't know if you have anything else, but it was fun talking with you. Anything else any other nuggets you want to drop on us?
I think if you guys are using Sisu, the biggest thing I would say is pay attention to that mastermind group in Facebook, and then and those weekly alerts that are coming out of their updates, because there's so many things that are updating that I'm like, I had no idea it could do that, you know. And it's really been crazy. Like, you guys are cranking out a lot of really cool features.
I think our developers go through like 2 or 3 keyboards a month. So yeah, they're moving.
yeah. Well, no, it's super impressive in the sense of that it's really like, because I've been, like I said, I was on it from the very beginning, and like it is night and day difference, but there's some cool stuff you guys are doing. So drop a nugget would just say watching those emails, because I'll read them and be like, oh, I want to implement that, you know, and just really having things streamlined. I think the other thing too is you guys, depending upon what CRM they're using, but I don't think a lot of people realize that they can do an integration kind of like we did with Zapier.
Yeah.
And so Zapier, like being able to put that into my Slack channel. I think you guys are working, I know you have some sync ones, and I know you're working with API Nation on Boomtown. So really you can make it all in one component of not having multiple things, you know? So
cool. Yeah, no, I mean, through Zapier, there's just a ton of integrations, like the Slack integration, right, that you could do. So, you know, certain CRM, certain transaction management have different policies as far as what they want to integrate with. We want to integrate with everybody and their dog. So anyone who wants to integrate, we're all about it. So, yeah, anyone out there listening, just, you know, if you haven't already, reach out to us and let's make some integrations happen. Cool.
Yeah, you guys have been super helpful. So there's a question on here. Are you wanting to answer, or are you wanting me to, about how does Sisu compare to Brivity?
Yeah, Brivity is a transaction management from my understanding. So there would be a tie in there. Hopefully, if Brivity has the right API and the right you know, integration policies, when a deal closes in Brivity, it would come into Sisu, or Brivity might be a CRM. So have them reach out to us, have them shoot us an email. We'll go research it. We'll figure out what we can do to integrate.
So Brivity is a CRM / transaction management. Yeah, okay. It has both, but so Sisu is not a CRM transaction management. It's 100% visualizing your data, but you got to get the data in there. So like we use Boomtown, and so us integrating with that. So just everything goes in, and then it automatically goes into Sisu. So I can see it and make some great business decisions. So
yeah, CRMs are very customer focused and managing the relationship and the communication with the customer, and just prospecting out of it. Sisu is where those leads come in once they're qualified, so that you can have a higher level of accountability and more visibility into what's happening there. It's from the agent and the performance angle versus the CRM, which is the customer angle. So that's kind of the tie-in or the trade-off there when working with the both. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Spring. That was awesome. Thanks for taking the time with us. And any questions, success@sisu.co, shoot us an email. We have our chat box right here on our website, on the product. It's all there. So we're very responsive and would love to help you out with your questions. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.